one there.
Hello. Thank you. Welcome back to Alpha Book Club. This is our online interactive book club that you can join right from your computers. My name is Hector Navarro, and joining me as always is Nerdist Editor-in-Chief Rachel Heine.
Oh, hi, thanks.
And, waiting for that name to pop in the bottom, Rachel Heine. And Geek Bombs, Maude Garrett.
Because it's not like I haven't been here for over a year now.
Yes. Huh?
Hi.
No, he meant the L3.
Oh.
Not your
He meant in
name.
the prompter. I was like,
No.
really?
I
No,
know,
you're in
me
the-
too.
You're in the prompter.
It's Maude.
For a second, I thought that too,
didn't-
but then he meant the L3
Yeah,
to show
didn't have to
my
remember
name and my Twitter
your name.
and all
Maude,
that
2 hours,
stuff.
2
Maude.
T's,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yep. Get 2 hours,
Yeah.
2 T's. Yes. Everybody, also welcome to our Alpha community. We're excited to dive back into the Martian Chronicles with you all. This was really exciting. This was a cool little one-off we decided to do.
Yeah.
Because we read the first third
I did.
of the Martian Chronicles.
Maude, you were gone.
I was gone.
Yeah.
Oh, girl.
You gone, girl. You gone. I gone, girl. Girl.
We need a clever. Help me, help you.
And close up on Maude and girl. I gone, girl. I gone, girl. Martian Chronicles, I was gone, girl. Gone, girl. I did not read the book, girl. I was gone. My hair, girl, my hair. Girl, I was gone. Okay, that was awful.
I think you mean incredible.
Oh, great.
Made my day. And
Yeah, so we read this when it was an off day. It was an off week for Maude.
And
We
you know
had.
what? We have off days.
I thought, did we
All
have
of us
Amy
have off
Vorpal come
days.
in?
True.
Did-
No, it was Kyle Anderson.
It was Kyle.
Kyle
That's right. It was
Anderson.
Nerdist
After
Kyle
Anderson.
Anderson.
Who's
Kyle
such
Anderson.
Who's such a dream. Kyle is one of the original Nerdist writers who's been working and writing for Nerdist almost longer than
Since
anyone,
the
I
dawn
think.
of time.
And he's so smart, and it was really fun to have him on. And The Martian Chronicles is one of my favorite books that I read as a teenager when
That's
I
so
was
cool.
like 14 or 15. And I love Ray Bradbury's style. It's a little stark, it's beautiful, and it's always in varying degrees tinged with sadness.
Yes. Yes.
Which was super my vibe when I was 14. And
That's why there's a violin in the intro. It's just playing a
yeah,
little one.
dun-dun,
just
yeah,
for you.
that was my themes, my high school theme song. Dun-dun-dun. Probably would have been a minor key, but
No.
but I want to kind of fill you in a little bit on the beginning before we dive into
Part two.
And
and we're leaving a part 3 question mark for at some point in the future.
I hope
and
so.
And I just want to say too, after we read part 1, I was so into it, and I was so committed to I'm going to finish this book.
You read
and
ahead?
And no, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad that I was so busy that I never. But it was always on my stack of stuff that I was trying to get to. That I was so excited that when we were like, oh, we're going to do this as a one-off. We're going to do part 2 of the Martian Chronicles. I was like, yes, meaning to do that. Great, but fill us in with that for that beginning part.
Yeah, so the beginning, it starts with the Rocket Summer, and so these were published. These short stories were published separately in the 1950s, I believe, starting in 1945, leading up to 1950. So again, these are pre. Man landing on the moon, sort of space
That's
race,
why
just
they're
starting to
rockets.
get into it. Yeah, so
Only rockets.
it's very old, and that's why some of the imagery of America is very classic Americana, even though it's set in the 2030s.
Yeah.
So they're imagining what these years are, and it
I
starts
love
in
it when people
19.
predict futures.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
the best.
great.
I love it in movies.
It's the best.
Yeah.
And it plays with the idea of colonization, which you get in this section too, but it starts in 1999 with the Rocket Summer when they start sending missions to Mars.
I wasn't born in 1999.
Yes, it was a long. I mean, you're
was a few
a
years
brand
before you
new
were born.
baby. So
You're
Wow,
4
that's
years old.
Fascinating.
You were born in 2013. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
yeah, it's been a journey for you.
You were made in a lab.
And honestly,
am the
we're really
future.
proud of you for how far you've come in such
Yeah.
a short
Yeah,
time.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's
you're,
been such a
you're
buzz.
You're
Yeah.
reading at like a
Prodigy.
very advanced level.
like
Maude.
extremely advanced. Like people
Yeah.
should be maybe
being
studying.
That's why I am being studied. We're being
Yeah.
monitored the whole time. In fact, it's
Oh, was that what the show
being
is?
recorded.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
oh,
just
that's what
for
all those.
research purposes.
Oh, that's
yeah.
what the camera crew is for.
I thought we
it's
were just
a
hanging
lab
out.
as well.
You know,
with
when
ourselves.
I was 4, I was like, I loved dinosaurs, but Maude's doing the
no.
whole geek bomb thing. It's incredible,
Yeah.
amazing.
You're traveling all over.
Yeah, it's amazing. You work hard for a 4-year-old. Do you want some juice?
I
Do you want
am
to take a break?
Here's some grape juice.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
yes,
that's
that's
your
all.
grape juice.
Yeah.
Wait, that's
This
our
is not a
one.
Judy, this is not a Judy Garland situation.
Wah, wah.
I'm a baby.
I'm tired. I read. You are tired.
Oh boy.
We just realized we have more in common with a 4-year-old than we think.
Yeah.
We really do.
Thanks, guys.
So, the beginning, so there are these expeditions that go to Mars, and the Martians are there, and they're telepathic,
Grasshoppery looking green disco balls.
golden eyes, and one of my favorite stories in the first section is about a Martian wife which you should read, a Martian wife who is having these feelings that someone is coming, someone who's going to change her life, and maybe she'll fall in love with. But the problem is she has a husband, they're not together, and it ends in this very intense kind of tragic way. That's a really good one. There's one where, because they're telepathic, another crew arrives and they're like, gosh, we've made it to Mars, bye jolly, you know, like they're really excited, and the Martians think that they're insane.
Oh, because they're stoked on colonization.
And because
Because they say
Martians
they're
are
from another planet. They're like, no, you're not.
and because Martians are telepathic, they can project images into your head, so they think that all of the astronauts are one person's delusion.
Oh,
It's very clever stuff, and so
they believe that the group is a delusional Martian that is
that's
telepathically
that's
insane.
amazing.
it's really good, and there's other ones, and so
Yeah.
by the time we get to this
That was
point,
heartbreaking, yeah.
it's really, and there are a couple other ones where people go mad when they're trying, I mean, all sorts of stuff. And so the point that we start in this book, or in this part of the book, is once they've basically wiped out the Martians through, if it's not as on the nose as smallpox, it's something like that.
It's definitely some kind of, they were wiped out.
Yeah, some sort of
So
germ,
And there's
or
some,
something.
and there's some
Yeah,
that
from
are
the
left.
humans when they came.
There's some
they
that are
used it-
left and they're rare.
No, it just happened. I think it just
so
happened.
it wasn't malicious. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a nuclear kind of.
They did. There were instances where they kind of came to blows, but in
Yes.
general, it was some sort of like.
And they just started
immunity
dying
thing.
out.
Yeah.
But it definitely is
It
a
was a contagious kind of.
thinly veiled metaphor for smallpox, for
Yeah.
the white man's diseases that comes and wipes out the native people,
Oh,
and even to the point where
I
they're
didn't
like,
know that.
where they were like, they're still around, but they're rare. There's only a couple here
Yeah.
and there, and we now generations are not, or people are not seeing them even
Yes. And
until a specific story. in
Yes,
this
which I really
section.
enjoyed.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Which one?
The story of the Tomas.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
Where
really
they're
great.
with the.
Not
Yeah.
Thomas.
Where they're-
That's why I love.
Tomas.
That's why I love reading, listening
Tomas
to the books.
Gomez,
You get all
yeah.
the. When we're like, how do you
Accents.
How do you say all these names? I'm like, well, I know I've got the inside scoop.
From the
Were you
audio
doing
book.
Well, I'm a
audiobook
4-year-old.
for
I
this?
like to
I thought
be-
you bought this book.
No, I did on Audible. I am a 4-year-old. I like being read to.
True. That's true.
That is my nighttime story.
What's your favorite dinosaur, Maude? What kind of dinosaur is your favorite?
Actually, great answer to this one. Oh man, did I spend my entire existence thinking it was Diplodocus? It's a Diplodocus.
Diplodocus.
But I love Diplodocus
Diplodocus sounds
so
fine to me.
much. It's kind of like a sea
Tomato, tomato, GIF, GIF. Who cares?
Ducky is
It is
my
good.
favorite dinosaur.
Yep. Do you know the sad story about Ducky?
Yeah, I don't want to talk
We've
about
said
it.
it a
don't wanna
couple
talk about
times
it?
on
No.
book club. We've said it a couple times on book club.
We've talked about it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, you stop trying to make me cry.
So sad. Yep.
It is Is it that?
I know. I
Yep.
can't
Yep.
watch
Yep. It's so sad. Oh man.
I relate to Sarah the
Ducky's
most
great.
in that. In News and
I can see
Surprises.
that.
Okay.
No
Yeah,
one.
because you're a bully.
Why do you keep saying that?
God, no.
What is this?
No.
That's bully behavior in calling me a bully. That's
No, I was trying to stop
Yeah.
it away.
Rachel Heine, high five me. Yes.
Sarah wasn't a
No.
bully. She was just
She
a
had
concerned
energy.
She was tough.
She was a little
tough.
stubborn.
When I was 5
but
years
in
old,
a good way.
when I was 5 years old, and my mom didn't pick me up from school because she was like at an appointment or something and late. And this
you
is
think
before cell phones.
Something happened to her, like in.
Yes and no. I thought, and I remember that day or something. She told me that she was like, "I'm gonna go for a job interview." Like I knew, but I was 5 years old, kindergarten, and I was like, I think I have to walk home.
A little bit older than you.
And a little bit older than you, a year older than you. And I
would've
remembered,
walked
I knew
home.
I knew how to get home from, through driving. And I was like, I think I'm going to walk home.
No.
And I had to use Sarah from The Land Before Time to inspire me to like be brave.
Now
And
that's
then
gonna
like,
make me
I
cry.
like walked home like a couple blocks and the teachers were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be fine. I know what's up." I even went inside the school, called my mom. And I learned later that when I called her, that was a time where she was like out of the house. Because again, before cell phones, like I called the house, so she was out of the house already like looking for me. So I came out, and because I was in there making a call, she drove by and I wasn't there. So then I walked home and almost got home. I was a block away, and then she peeled around the corner, like found me frantic. But it was Sarah that inspired me.
That's really cute.
Bullies don't do that. Unless they do.
But
That's another
anyway,
conversation.
Anyway,
Martian
Martian
only
Chronicles.
four.
The first part of Martian Chronicles, it feels
read.
like it is Twilight Zone-esque. It centers on humans. The Earthman sort of perspective are not the main focus. In the beginning, it was sort of from the Martians' perspective. As the stories progressed, that sort of changed.
It felt
there
like the
are
Martian. What was Matt Damon's movie?
The Martian.
The
Yeah,
Martian.
it felt like The Martian with the
Felt like
first
The
story.
Martian.
Well, any
Yeah.
sort
It's a
of
botanist.
yeah,
The
because
first story,
it
like
the
in the
first
beginning
one?
of the book.
The big
the
story.
first one that we read in this one is the
31-year-old.
it starts
his
with
name?
who's
saying
playing
the,
it?
Yes,
the
yes,
men
yes.
of Earth.
Yes. Johnny Appleseed.
The men of Earth came to Mars, and they're saying it's basically a similar idea, which they play into more in later stories of a great voyage from one country leaving to another, and then the women come, and then they
And then
send
the thinkers come, and
yes,
then the artists
to
and
make
all that
sure
other
that
stuff. Yeah, there were waves.
there are all these stages that happen of first these sort of explorers who
Yeah.
probably die,
Yeah.
and then the main one who finally gets it right and or wipes out a population.
Oy.
Either way,
Yeah.
ends up being the one that's famous for it. I mean,
Yeah.
Columbus was not the first person to
Yep.
make a voyage to
He found
America.
America that was already named. It
Yes.
wasn't even,
Yeah.
thanks Vikings, it was not even
What was
Christopher
the
that did
name?
it.
Yeah.
America.
Oh, he didn't name it America.
No.
No, the
Sorry,
Vikings
my
had
American
already-
history is real bad.
He
It's
was-
okay,
it was
my
named
Australian
by-
history is not great.
So
Like
I'll help you out a
like-
little bit.
yeah.
My great-great-great-grandfather, he founded a little part of New South Wales, and I was like, that's so cool. And there's a John Wright Park named after him.
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
so- yeah, cool. He eliminated a lot of the indigenous people.
That's not cool.
Yeah, to colonize that area because it had a really good shipping port, so it was all good for importing and exporting.
And that's sort of the horrible thing about colonization in general is that, you read in textbooks, especially when you're a kid, this watered down version of
Oh
we came
my
to
gosh.
America. And
It's
we,
so watered
we
down.
made,
It was new
and
land
even
that we
Johnny
liked.
Appleseed that they reference in this is not like there are all these stories like Paul Bunyan and Johnny Appleseed that are supposed to teach kids about the American dream.
And there was
We
such
spoke
a-
about that in American Gods.
Yeah, and there was
And I
such
was
a
like, Johnny
crazy...
who?
Oh yeah, we explained. Yeah, we had. Yeah.
There was such a crazy thing I remember as a kid, and even in the media, that the early, the early colonies, these people that came looking for freedom, religious freedom from Europe, were made out to be such pure-hearted
Yeah.
people.
No.
When you watch Mel Gibson's The Patriot, he doesn't have slaves. He has like black people that he pays like really well, and they're friends, and
Well,
there's
that's one of the
Right,
reasons,
yeah.
not the same time period, but one of the things I appreciated about Mad Men, best show of all time,
I'll
even
get
though
into
Matthew
it.
Weiner is apparently a creep too, but they're all creeps. But that they didn't make everyone out to be like a super feminist and super,
No,
you know
Mad
what I
Men
mean,
is full of
progressive.
terrible people,
Because
terrible
that's
men.
what it was. That's what
Yeah.
it was like. But people too, people who were ignorant or didn't. And so, The Patriot, with an incredible turn by Jason Isaacs, is the bad guy in that. I mean,
Did he
He's such a
die?
good
That
bad guy.
stupid little
The
boy. Jason Isaacs, I hate you so much. Ooh, you're talking about Heath.
so
You're talking about
good.
Heath Ledger.
It's so good, but you have these characters who are like, we're different. It's like, that's
Yeah.
not what it was actually like.
And directed by a French man, Roland Emmerich, was sure to put a French character to represent the French allies that were
Yeah.
helping the Revolutionary
Yeah,
War.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that French badass is just like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Jean Reno is like the
Yeah.
French badass
Yeah.
in the Godzilla movie. I think it's hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
But I like I'm very interested to hear what you guys think about these stories and which ones were your favorites and which ones you didn't
Well,
like.
let's wrap up the sort of the sort of preview for section 1.
Yeah.
In the beginning, the social sort of norms of Mars are still in play. Ray Bradbury is sort of giving us his version of what Mars kind of looks like.
We
and
could just call him Radbury.
Radbury, he's
Yeah.
pretty Radbury.
Yeah, he is
The
rad.
themes include, like Rachel was saying, colonialism, Americana, discovery, existentialism,
I like a
your
bit of
place in the
existentialism.
world/universe, broken people. These are some of the sort of themes. We see the first expedition, the second expedition, the third expedition.
The fourth expedition?
I don't know, remember.
okay.
And the moon be still as bright. I don't know what that's a reference to, but it was probably
That's
the
one
name
of
of
the
a section,
stories?
which is really great.
That's
Was that the wife-husband story?
no, that's Ela. The Moon Be Still As Bright is the one with Spender. That's the one where the guy goes mad and turns on
On his crew.
Which
Yeah.
is the last story of the first portion.
Yep.
Got
right.
it, which
That's
is why
right.
I haven't read it.
I highly recommend if you enjoy. First of all, did you like the second section?
I did.
Even though
On its
you
own.
read the middle.
Because
Yeah,
the book,
no,
it's
it
not,
made perfect sense.
yeah, it's
'cause
not
short
linear,
stories.
so you can still go
Yeah.
back and do it, and it'll just sort of
It
fill in some
technically
details.
is exactly linear. You'll notice that the first entry is January 1999.
Well, look,
and then it ends at 2026.
when I say linear, I don't mean in a timeline. I mean vital to the story linear is
that
what
what
I mean.
linear means?
No, it's not. I'm using it in a
at
different
all. No,
way.
I definitely corrected him.
Don't try to team
And there
up
was
with
a
Ma
bit
just
of a
because you
backpedal
high-five me.
happening.
God damn it!
Yeah, that's right.
Hey everybody, here's Maud's impression of an American, okay? It's really offensive.
Right. Where's my cap and a beer? Mine will do.
That's really great. That's really great because my Australian is terrible. I'm never gonna do it.
I've been watching the Australian Bake Off, so I feel like I can.
Ooh,
Give it a fair go.
Let's hear a little bit of it.
Give me something to say.
No, you can read the first line of page
these-
95.
Say these cookies are delightful.
No, I'll do. I can't do it.
Go on. I need to hear this.
Oh, come on,
The
Rachel.
men of Earth came to Mars.
Perfect. That was
I'm
perfect.
so sorry.
Ma, did you just speak just
okay,
now?
Okay, ready? I'll
Ma,
show
was that you speaking
Yeah,
just
right.
now?
The men of Earth came to Mars.
That's great.
How you actually say it is, the men of Earth came to Mars.
But the hosts
Men of
on the
Earth?
they're really.
No, it's actually, guys, it
Go to the
sounds
next
like
line after this. Yeah, yeah.
Spender was on his feet over the fire and alongside Biggs before anyone moved. He hit Biggs once in the teeth and once in the ear.
That's
Biggs
not a
toppled
knife.
and fell down into
This
the
is a
canal water.
knife.
That is
You know what,
knife
though?
murder. Knife murder. That's it.
That's
Perfect.
actually pretty good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's pretty good for a Mexican kid who grew up in San Diego. Pretty good. Thanks,
Mine
TV and
was
movies.
pretty good.
Rachel, yours was perfect. Did you even
I
go?
can
I thought
also
it was just
thank
Maud.
movies and TV for figuring out how to sound like
That's
American accents.
that's a really good. It's almost like a
it subtle?
valley girl too. It's a really good
Well, guess what? I
California.
live in the valley, so
Sa.
nailed it.
Get that nice vocal fry at the end of that.
Pretty. The vocal
Sa.
fry is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's really good. You have a great American accent.
Well, thank you. Well, and my southern accent, we've all heard that one. Your French
Yeah, that's a
accent's
good one.
pretty
From
good. French accent's terrible.
no, your French is really
bad.
good.
It's really bad.
No, it's really
Shut
good.
up, Rachel.
But
No,
it's got
that's
nothing
so
on
mean.
your.
I'm not being mean. I really
Columbo.
like it.
My Peter Falk is great.
Yeah.
It's actually really bad.
It's so good. No.
No,
my
it's not.
impressions are
It's
bad.
not bad at all. No, where am I going? Hey, anyway, what are we talking about next?
So we're gonna talk about these. So I want to know
Anyway,
which
yeah.
ones you liked and which ones you didn't, and then we can talk about them.
Okay, I didn't like the racist one. I didn't like the one with all the N words in it.
Yeah, look, we spoke about that a lot during To Kill a
did.
Mockingbird,
We did.
where it's so jarring. But to hear that it's written in around the same time as To Kill a Mockingbird makes perfect
Sure.
sense. But what I really liked about it is
Way in the
how
middle
in
of the year.
defense
Sure.
white people. So it was like
I
it was
miss
really
that
white people challenging white people on motives and morals. And I kind of loved
Page
that.
119, June 2003, way in the middle of the year. It's literally the third line is.
I don't think this one was in my Kindle one.
Oh,
no.
really?
'Cause I was like,
Let us, yeah.
Whoa.
It was straight up off
It's
the
not-
bat with N words,
it's
and the
not
same thing
in- hold
listening to
on.
it. I was like,
But-
oh.
hold on, I just want to look
Okay.
because I.
June
Yeah, it-
2003.
skips-
But
skipsy.
it's I like it and I didn't like it. I like it in the content, which is Ray Bradbury trying to say that part of the types of people that are leaving the earth are the people that have been marginalized.
Yeah, and they.
And that's-
It's
They-
way in
that's
the middle
taking-
there. It's not in here. It goes from.
Wow, no way.
It
I
goes
wonder
from
why
the
they skipped it.
musicians.
When was that published?
To
Do
the
you think that it was
naming-
removed because of the themes?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wow,
The
that's
wilderness to the naming of
fascinating.
names.
Or honestly,
Wow.
just because of the use of the
yes,
N-word.
I'm sure that's what it was.
You might have a Kindle version that's like, this is like for classrooms or whatever, like
no,
whatever
because
the case.
they do that in classrooms.
They do, a lot. They
To
really
Kill a
do.
Mockingbird.
A lot of N-words in class.
So the premise of this one was a lot of some of the white older men were really furious at the notion of that their help would be leaving them to pursue a different life
Starting
and get
over,
in a
yeah.
rocket.
Oh, I do
And they would
remember
hold-
that from the first time I read it.
Yeah, and they would hold over them any kind of debt. They were immediate to assume that any possession that they have of mine, they're going to steal it. And
Yeah.
they were trying to trap them in the notion that it's like, well, you owe me money. That's 2 months of work to pay it off. So you have to go here while threateningly holding a gun. And
Yeah.
it was kind of a beautiful moment where it's like, you owe me money, you got to stay. And they were like, all right, how much does he owe you? $50. All right, well, there's 25 people here. Everyone
the
gives
community comes together
$2.
to help.
All right, everyone
Yeah.
give $2 to set this man
Done.
free, you know,
Yeah.
for him to achieve his goals.
And not only that, but at the end of the story, the main racist guy had a friend or
Steve,
relative,
someone,
grandpa,
Tessa? Yeah.
who stood up and was like, "I'll work in the back instead of this little kid."
The
I'll take his
17-year-old
place.
boy who
Because this kid wanted to
shows
leave.
up. Well, he shows up with the bike, the stolen
return
bike,
it,
to
yeah.
return it, and he's like, "Where are you going? You owe me $50. You've got to go in there and get to work right now, boy. Get in there and clean my brass."
Yeah.
And his own father goes, "I'll do it. If it's that important, I'll do it so he can go."
So
I thought those moments were just kind of like
great moments,
lovely.
and I totally understood what Ray Bradbury was trying to do with that little short, but I also just felt like it tonally just felt very like heavy-handed and on the nose, and sort of in the middle of the story that the rest of the story is using Martians and Mars and using all these different metaphors, and it just
Right.
felt very like racism's bad, like
Well, I
and
felt-
it didn't feel like to hear the voices of like the African Americans didn't feel super authentic or whatever. But again, I'm looking at it from a 2017 lens. Like I get it. Like this
Yeah.
is from the
Yeah.
50s. So good on Ray. That's awesome that he put that in there.
I see the positive message that's
You know,
coming from it.
it
Going,
did, but it
is there
was-
a problem? Yes, there is.
But I just,
are we
like,
looking
yeah.
for a solution? Yeah, we are.
Well,
Or here is it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's
I
what's going
felt
to happen.
that way
Yeah.
about which one was it? With the wives, with the future wives, where I was like, they're bringing silly things like magazines to the, and
Oh,
they're,
yeah.
Yeah.
But and that felt a little on the nose to me too, where I was like, well, the women go and then they follow. But I do feel like, especially in 1945, when he grew up in a time where there was a lot more racism and sexism and segregation and
was
all of
legal.
those, it was still
Yeah.
legal and all these
Yeah.
terrible
Yeah,
things.
for sure.
That would be if we're looking at this Americana, that's a utopia, but only for some people, and it's not really a utopia.
would be bullshit.
It's this
Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
that they're trying to create that was never actually very good. It's sort of like, and also when you think about
Teach.
going to the, like thinking about the Dust Bowl and thinking about these areas that were suffering, you're right before this was written in the Depression and
Yeah.
and all of that, where they're thinking back to what they grew up with and idealizing it,
And projecting it for the
which is
future,
happening now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People thinking
So-
about times that they think were really great, but they weren't, and they weren't especially for anyone who's not a straight, wealthy white dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Which, by the way, have you guys seen The Shape of Water? Because that's what that movie's about.
Really? Is it?
Really?
Is
No, but
it?
I watched your.
That's
hey,
what it was. I thought it was like a fundamental love story.
It
It's
is.
breaking the boundaries of
But
Well,
love.
I watched the cut of
Oh,
your
great.
great interviews. So everyone tune into Nerdist.com to watch Hector talk to Guillermo del Toro.
But the
It's
backdrop of that
amazing.
story, of a love story, is that he specifically chose 1962
Yes, which,
because
yeah.
1962 was the zenith of the American dream in
Picket
the United
fences.
States. But at the same time, it was also a place where if you were black, if you were a woman, if you were gay, if you
Pre-Civil
were
Rights
different,
Act, pre.
it was not a great time for you in the United States. So he plays with that world, and it's really great. And I think that it's also a part of it is, again, looking at it with a 2017 lens, the fact that that story takes place in 2003,
Yeah.
and the black people speaking sound like they're in the 50s. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
but how could he have foreseen?
But it's not. Yeah,
But it's,
it's
you know-
from 60 years before it was written. 60
Yes.
years before that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But he is talking about rockets and so yeah.
But
so
social issues are in that little
Social
story. But that was
issues,
probably
yeah.
the one I liked the least.
okay, what'd you like the best?
You know which one? It's your favorite one.
You liked that one?
It was awesome.
It was really good.
It was really good.
The Usher 2.
The Usher
House
2.
of
Oh
Usher
my
2.
goodness! I had to listen to that one twice because I didn't really get it the first time.
Have you
No,
read?
I'm not
okay.
familiar with Edgar Allan Poe.
Ooh, we should do
At all.
some.
Neither am I,
when we
but
have
I
another
got it, that it
short.
was all
I don't know
references.
who Usher was. Usher. I know who he is.
Shorty
Oh,
got
you wanna
down
talk
low. She
about
said, "Come and get me."
people who abuse their position of power when interviewing.
Shorty looked so good. I forgot she
Usher.
told me.
Oh yeah, bad.
Oh, real?
Yeah, put
Really?
me onto his lap.
What?
Yeah,
Usher?
yeah. He's little. I'm big. I was like, what's happening here? Yeah. Anyway, I was talking about like motorboating. I was like, do you know what motorboating is? And he's like, I was in a big motorboating phase at that time.
Okay.
Which is, you know, putting your face into a woman's breasts and blah, blah, blah. I had a.
How was that that was a phase for you?
Talking about it or?
Anyway.
Yep.
The thing is, they're very comfortable when hugging. That's where that comes
Oh,
from.
didn't you say like because your mom?
Yeah, and now my mum tells everyone who'll listen to her that I miss her breasts.
Yeah.
Which is totally not in context.
talked
but
about that
that's
before,
the
I'm
kind
sure,
of
yeah.
mum
Yeah, I
that
remember
have.
that.
That's one of our
like
classic
pillows.
Alpha Book Club tangents.
Yeah. Anyway, he said to me, I don't know what a motorboat is, but you can banana boat me. I'm sure you can figure out
What a poet.
that is.
What a poet.
Hey, anyway.
But the House of Usher is better than
Than
a
Usher.
gross creep because, who should not do that or abuse his position of power when he's at a place
They're
where
all creeps.
people are working. They all
My exposure to Edgar Allan Poe began with The Simpsons.
Oh,
with,
yeah?
Bart the Raven.
the Raven.
Eat My Shorts. Such a good
And don't they do the
Treehouse of Horror.
Telltale Heart at some point for
They do.
Treehouse of Horror? I feel
It's
like
the
they've done
Shinnin' boy. Do you want to get sued?
It's the Shinnin. Don't you mean The Shining? Quiet, boy. Yeah.
the
So
Treehouse of Horror Simpsons
Yeah.
are
You're the
my
best.
favorite.
They're all time.
Oh, the donut. What's a donut? That one's my favorite. Yeah.
Remind me, there's a really great play in LA right now that's based on The Simpsons that I highly recommend. So I'll
Just
take it.
don't look. Just don't look. Da 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 da. Just don't look. Just don't look. Da 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 da. You got some monsters to defeat those monsters. 1, 2, 3. Take a little tip from me. It's got Paul Anka's guarantee. Guarantee void in Tennessee. Just don't look. Just don't look. Do 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 do. Anyway, Treehouse of Horror.
That's
I like
great.
Simpsons
we are
music.
sharing
Went
today.
to
See
school with one of the
my
both of the
Vest,
graining
see
kids.
my vest, made from real gorilla
Gorilla
chest.
chest.
Yep.
Feel this sweater, there's no better than authentic Irish setter. Grizzly bear underwear, turtlenecks, I've got my share. Beret of poodle on my noodle, it shall rest.
that
Try
Phil
my Red
Hartman?
Robin suit, it comes one breast or two. See my vest, see my vest, see my vest.
Is that Phil Hartman?
That is
that was Mr.
that
Burns.
is Mr. Burns,
That was Mr.
voiced by
Burns.
Harry Shearer.
Oh, Harry Shearer.
Mhm.
Oh,
I really like the vest.
yeah. It's a good one.
Okay.
But I do really, the House of
talking about
Usher
that, yeah.
too, I love.
This is okay. What I loved about this is Ray Bradbury completely pivots genre in
Yes.
this. A lot of it's like kind of somewhat educational, kind of like very entertaining in a learning
Dreamlike.
experience.
X's, yeah, there's
Poetry,
The,
there's like
well, there's
poetry.
time
And then you go
travel. Yes, it
straight
is
into
like
horror.
prose poetry. There's, if we're looking through the ones we read for this section,
How
there's.
do you feel when she does this to books, by the way? How do you feel?
You know
Look
what?
at that.
Oh, I
It-
abuse my books.
It hurts me a little bit, but that's Rachel's journey, and I'm
Yeah.
not mad at it because
Okay,
I'm this
yeah.
like there are things that I do. I open action figures, which pisses a lot of nerds off, and I'm like, relax.
Oh,
they need to feel
That's
air
the purpose of them.
to play
have
with.
some
That's
action.
Exactly,
how
gotta play
that's
with
how
them.
I feel
Figure.
about that's how I feel about books.
I
That
also
you want
do
to.
that-
I don't
certain
know if
things
you've
with
noticed,
comics,
but
too.
I've thrown
That's
every
true.
book.
I
But
try
I
to
used
keep- I
to
try to
write
keep
in the
them-
margins
Oh, that's
of
cute.
like my original
Yeah.
Martian Chronicles was all marked up that I have.
I try to keep
somewhere.
mine pristine because I'm either going to A,
Lend it to
donate it,
someone.
lend it to someone, or sell it, or B, like keep it forever for maybe someday if I have a kid I'll read it to them. So I'm trying to keep shit pristine, but that's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, I
the
like
way the world's
I
going.
like giving them a little wear and tear, but I would say like some of them are existential. There's basically a time travel interdimensional.
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
That was
That
a
was
good
great.
Yeah,
one.
I really liked that. That was
And-
sci-fi. That was like
was
straight up
sci-fi.
sci-fi.
Yeah, which this is.
No, it's
Technically.
not
Well, it's
science
not.
fact. It's science fiction, so it is sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also like in this particular your favorite one, it's horror.
Yeah,
Like
and-
there's no two ways around it.
And it's a
straight up horror.
dark comedy too because
I didn't laugh.
I loved it.
oh I feel like so I love that he plays into what year was Frankenheight 451 published?
Fahrenheit 451?
After this one, I believe.
I want to say like 50.
It's
If
after
you want to
this
say
one, I
it,
think.
just
51?
say it. That's such an American thing to do, by the way.
What?
I want to say,
Yeah,
just say it.
because you know why? Because I'm so confident.
Yeah.
Because I'm an American man.
53, yeah.
That's right.
So
That's
so
I honestly I had no idea. Mud she definitely called me out on it, and it's true. I had no fucking clue.
You know what I mean?
But I was
yeah,
like,
you're like I want to say
I was
it. It's
like,
just a
ooh.
guess. It's a guess.
But go ahead and say it. Like
I felt
no,
like-
no bad happens from
That I
saying
feel
it.
like is a California thing.
it is, but it's also a dude. I'm confident because I'm a dude, and I've been told by society that my answers are always right. And
No,
I'm
but
an
even I
American.
want to say
No, but
is
you're
giving yourself a little bit of
self-aware.
I know, but
Don't
still.
even. But
Still.
a little bit of
what I like about this, and I hope we read Fahrenheit 451 on this one because I haven't read it since high
It's
school.
Fahrenheit 450. You definitely said Frankenheight 451. I was like,
I would read either of
I
those.
want to read the shit out of
Oh, yeah,
Frankenheight.
Frankenheight 451.
I did.
I wanna
Frankenstein
so
451.
Fahrenheit.
Okay, here's
now
my
that
pitch.
it's not it, yeah.
Victor Frankenstein comes back to life,
Yeah.
and he builds an army of 451 Frankenstein monsters.
I'm in.
Because he has to fight
Is it the sequel to
vampires.
Frankenstein?
the vampires that are growing in numbers and the werewolves The
I mean,
lichens.
I'm so in.
So it's
Oh.
a rock, paper, scissors scenario.
This honestly
where
sounds like a book
Lunkaroos.
that I wrote when I was 13 with my best friend.
Why don't we do a Rachel
we
Heine
get
original on
any
Alpha
of
Book Club?
that?
Yeah, I have a printed out copy that I just found the other day, which is why I'm remembering
Oh
it.
my God.
It's not
Okay.
finished and it's really bad, and I wrote it when I
That
was
is
like
our book.
13.
Yes.
It's not
yes.
finished.
I'll read the chapter of the fantasy book that I attempted to. Oh, it's on an old computer. But then again, so is an interview that I did with Snoop Dogg. This is a name drop, but it's worth it. Where we smoked in it because he passed it to me and I freaked out and so
great.
I took it and I coughed
Guys,
my lungs up.
You okay?
I was so bad.
You're only 4 years old.
I know, you've done so much.
When Snoop Dogg gives it to you.
The only
Yeah, I
person
mean,
who's more active
obviously.
than you and younger is Elmo. He's 3 and he's doing arguably more than you, and that's it. That's a pretty
Is
good
that your
Elmo.
Elmo?
Pretty good.
That's really good.
Really?
But can you bring it to the next level where he's like,
No.
No, but you
he loses
wanna-
it.
I-
He loses it.
That was amazing.
It's
As
uncomfortable.
an aside, did you guys watch the Thanksgiving Day parade?
No.
No.
So there's
was
a
in
new
Australia.
SpongeBob musical.
Oh yeah.
Well, as
bad?
someone.
It's like I've heard it's really good.
I'm
but
really morbidly
they-
curious about it.
All right, hold on. You did your
I
Simpsons.
thought that
theory for
maybe
mine.
we needed an exorcism for the musical because it was like real
Alright.
scary, and that's what Elmo
this your
reminded me.
SpongeBob?
Yeah, yeah.
But the
Mr.
thing-
Sun came up and he smiled at me. Right, this was what I learned at Nickelodeon.
Pretty good.
Gonna be a new day, just wait and see. So it's the whole.
That's
Oh
great.
shit, how's it go? But I jumped out of bed and I told myself that it's something else, and it's called the best day ever. You shitting on this already?
I only know that
How
part.
do you know that?
I only know that part because it's a famous SpongeBob song. Do you know F is for friends who
Who
do
do
stuff
stuff
together?
together.
U is for you and me.
Can we
think
sing
I
this,
do
or
a
are we
bit.
gonna get
N is for anytime and anywhere at all down here
Dear
in the deep blue sea.
I
Stop.
hosted Nickelodeon for 3.5 years.
Do we need to stop?
And you just sung circles around me.
That's what I thought. That's what I was asking.
Nobody
I
will
thought
watch
you said
this.
don't stop.
I think you have to recognize the tone, the tune, though, and I think we weren't in tune, so that's.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry. Okay, wait. I really hold on.
I
Yeah,
did a
no,
whole
I'm
Simpsons
holding.
song.
You
Whoops.
You did. You didn't stop.
Can we black bar it?
Oh well.
Afterwards?
Beep, and we're back to but we're in
So, in
Usher,
House of-
April 2005.
House of Usher 2.
Yeah.
So what I like about this section is that you can find the kernels of Fahrenheit 451 in this because they're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about book burnings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
And I totally
Yeah.
identify with this dude, not the like murdering people, but
I'm kind of into
the
I did too.
where he's pissed because they're burning books, get it.
He's passionate and holding on to the past.
He loves this great work, this man's great work of literature.
He's a fanboy.
He creates it. If I could live in a house that's all Edgar Allan Poe, I would do it in a second. Like
So
in
there were
a,
mechanical bats. There was a witch with no teeth
So
who were
cool.
cackling. Yeah,
I want to live in that house. I mean,
Yeah.
This is also a
I mean,
pretty.
there is a spider web on my shirt currently standing.
but I also really like that at the end. I feel like the House of Usher is less known than the Telltale Heart, the Raven, or even the Cask of Amontillado, which is the end part of these stories. But the House of Usher is this is a house like this, and
He gets everyone drunk.
Edgar Allan Poe has this. Well, the thing about the House of Usher is that it's pulling from a bunch of stories. So they have the Pit and the Pendulum, which is where a guy is, and they've played into this in theories
many
where it's getting really
times.
close and
Yeah,
he's
it
trying
gets
to get
lower and
out.
lower.
And then there's other things in there, but the House of Usher is like it's sort of similar to Haunting of Hill House actually, where it's kind of alive. The guy's going mad. He's afraid that his sister and he are dying, so he like entombs his sister even though she's still alive. There's all this, and the house cracks at the end in the way that it does in this book. But what I really like is in the Cask of Amontillado, which is like a revenge tale where a guy gets his friend or former friend, or I don't remember the exact circumstances, but gets this guy who he wants revenge on drunk, leads him into kind of the catacomb-y area and leaves him there. And there's that line that he says.
Yeah. Oh, if you would know what was happening if you'd read the book.
I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You didn't read the
Just
books you
the
burned.
smug book.
Yeah.
You
where
didn't read the books you burned.
Yes, where if you had read them,
Yeah.
you would have
sound like a
known
Game
this
of
would have
Thrones fan.
happened. Yeah.
In the books.
But I mean, this idea that you're so afraid of something and you don't even know anything about
you're
it.
afraid
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
I
you're too busy
liked
burning
that,
it than
and that
indulging in it. Yeah.
you wouldn't have ended up in this situation if you had read it, because you would know this is obviously the Cask of Amontillado, and you would have not
You would have
gone
had the
anywhere
cliff
near
notes.
Pendulum. You would
Yeah.
have not.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that the robots come into it, and it's
That was
just- It's
awesome.
really fun.
Robot gorillas, I'm into it.
And
Yeah.
realistic
Robot
robots
duplicates.
in 1945.
Well,
to
technically in
1950.
2005. So think about,
But it's predicted.
Yeah,
So
from
it's predicting
45,
realistic
yeah.
robots.
by that point, I'm sure Ray Bradbury had heard rumblings of Disneyland. He's like, oh, that's going to be dope. I'm going to put that in my story. Animatronics, done. Boop,
Right.
done.
Boop.
The opening
Boop.
monologue that this character reads.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to read it real quick because
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I want to
Okay.
see how closely you do it to the guy who did it in the book, because
Okay.
it was real good.
All right, great. Was it? It was! Every man, they said, must face reality, must face the here and now. Everything that was not so must go. All the beautiful literary lies and flights of fancy must be shot in midair. So they lined them up against a library wall one Sunday morning 30 years ago in 1975. They lined them up. St. Nicholas and the Headless Horseman and Snow White and Rumpelstiltskin and Mother Goose. Oh, what a wailing! And shot them down and burned the paper castles and the fairy frogs and old kings and the people who lived happily ever after, for of course it was a fact that nobody lived happily ever after, and once upon a time became no more. And they spread the ashes of the phantom rickshaw and the rubble of the land of Oz. They filleted the bones of Glinda the Good and Ozma and shattered Polychrome in a spectroscope and served Jack Pumpkinhead with merengue at the biologist's ball. The beanstalk died in a bramble of red tape. Sleeping Beauty awoke at the kiss of a scientist and expired at the fatal puncture of his syringe.
Right.
And they made Alice drink something from a bottle which reduced her to a size where she could no longer cry curiouser and curiouser. And they gave the looking glass one hammer blow to smash it and every red king and oyster away. He clenched his fists like Arthur from the meme. Lord, how immediate it was. His face was red and he was gasping for breath. As for Mr. Bigelow, he was astounded at this long explosion. He blinked and at last said, sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Just names to me. From what I hear, the burning was a good thing. Get out!
Yeah.
Screamed Stendhal.
got no
You've done your
time,
job now. Let me alone, you idiot. I read those comments on the internet every day.
But I get that. This is the
Yeah.
diehard fan who consumes to the point where it consumes him, you
Yep.
know? Like, it is more than they can live and breathe. And if you're not on their page, both figuratively and literally in this instance,
You will die.
you deserve to die.
You deserve to die.
But I also feel like this is also, well, there's another bit that says, when he's talking about his library, he goes, Poe's been forgotten for many years now in Oz and the other creatures, but I had my little cachet. We had our libraries, a few private citizens, until you sent your men around with torches and incinerators and tore my 50,000 books up and burned them. Just as you put a stake through the heart of Halloween and told your film producers that if they made anything at all, they would have to make and remake Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah.
My God, how many times have I seen For Whom the Bell Tolls done? 30 different versions, all realistic. Oh, realism. Oh, here. Oh, now. Oh, hell. I
That
love
resonated with me
that.
though, because I'm the same. Like when he was talking about all of these great enriching kind of fairy tales, and you know, so half of them are Disney movies now. But
I know. That's how I know
But
a
they're
lot of my
Grimm's,
knowledge.
and there's
Yeah.
Oz and the characters from the books in Oz when you talk about Ozma and all
yeah,
that.
yeah. But hearing it's like, no, you're just stuck in this realism. Where is the fantasy? Where is
Yeah.
the escapism?
And it feels
And
like
so the whole catch is this man can never escape.
yeah.
Just figured that out then, which is why I was really dramatic with my
But
finger.
if he escapes at the end, though, or the guy he's yelling at can never escape. Who can't escape?
Hold on, the
They
one
don't
who
escape
steals
the
from
hat.
brick house.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't he get in a helicopter and fly away? And he's like, "Peace, I killed you guys."
That's the guy who loves
Garrett.
Yeah.
Oh, and I did want to bring up a
Oh,
point.
Garrett escapes?
No,
No.
Garrett dies.
That's
Garrett
what I'm talking
dies,
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garrett's the one
he's
who
so against escapism, and yet
Oh.
he
He
can
cannot-
never
yeah.
escape.
Nicely done.
And
Thank you
also,
so much.
I feel like too, this is another big theme in the book is a lot of it is the colonialism, but it's also this fear of technology and it moving too fast and it moving beyond what we can control. And talking about science and talking about realism and the syringe of the scientist and sort of all of that, I feel like is also a warning of, yes, we can go to Mars and we can colonize it, but should we? And do we have the right to? And are we thinking about this enough? And that feels very timely
I
as
never
well.
got that from it, and I'm so glad you brought it up because
Yeah.
it's a new perspective for me. I saw it as censorship again.
Well, so,
all over
yes,
again.
that
for sure.
as well, yeah. But I love that you're reading this and you're like, oh my God. And then he wrote Fahrenheit 451.
You could tell
haven't
after
read it.
reading this and you bringing that up, reminding me that Fahrenheit 451 exists. You could tell that Ray wrote this section and was like, I'll do more of this.
I
do a
just
whole
wanna
book
read
of
this
this.
book.
I'll do a
Yeah.
whole book
You
of this
can tell you had
because
the most fun in this one.
it's Fahrenheit
Yeah.
451 for sure.
And some of his other books, which I highly recommend, and short stories, there are some really, The Illustrated Man, and they're all great. But there's Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is a macabre traveling circus in Americana 50s, and they're all very. I think all his stories are pretty masculine and focused on men and male characters.
Sure.
They don't really get that perspective, but they're still really good. Now
Can we talk about Maud's favorite section?
Yep.
The section with Tomas?
Well, I
Yeah.
really do like that every single one of these stories feels so unique and different in itself. I mean, he has the chapters that are very, very small, and honestly, when I was listening to it, it was only for a minute 30
Yeah.
or 59 seconds, and it's
Yeah.
like blink and you miss it.
half a page.
And I'm
It's-
like, I gotta go back.
I would see those
what
as little poetic palate cleansers.
Yeah.
So like we spent some time in a story, and now here's this thing: the men came from Earth, and they
Sometimes
came on
I
a
feel
summer
like it
wind,
would
and I'm like,
tie-
okay, great.
It would flow on though, and I'd have to figure
Sure.
out, oh gosh, I'm not differentiating. But the stories with Tomas.
Yes, and the green
it's so
alien.
weird. Okay, hold on. Just before we get into that, I really do want to bring up something. I am the first of this panel that has had something pretty special and spectacular happen, especially considering my name. The living entity of Alpha Book Club has seen a character, Miss Morty,
Yeah.
and now Garrett. That's my whole name done. And I was
Wow.
thinking long and hard about this. We've had a Hector,
We've had a Hector McQueen, but no Navarros,
no Navarro.
and we've had
Have we had a Miss Rachel?
no Rachels and no Hines.
Was that in To Kill a Mockingbird? Was there a Miss Rachel?
I don't think so.
No Rachel.
I don't think
Wrinkle in
we've had a
Time?
Rachel
Was there
yet.
a Rachel?
No,
No Rachel.
no Rachel's yet.
No Hein. How did I win that?
Okay, well
Time's
technically,
not a common.
technically,
Maud.
Well,
when
we're reading
we,
books in the 30s and 40s.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I feel
When
like-
we read Old Man Logan, technically in the flashback, there is a mutant character,
Called
Phoenix.
Rachel?
First name is Rachel, so Rachel Summers, so that
Okay.
counts technically.
All right, cool. There you
Hey.
go.
I don't ever think she's mentioned by name, but it's a thing that you
Cool,
know.
great.
And if we cover scar tissue next, Dave Navarro gets mentioned. So,
Rad.
yeah.
Hey man, that's it.
We
That's
could
right.
read The Red Tent, which is a biblical story told from the perspective of the women. That's pretty dope. And Rachel's in that.
Oh,
I'm
is
Because
into
it's a
that.
biblical name. Yeah.
I'm
Is
into
it?
that.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
Rachel
that.
and Leah. Yeah.
Leah.
Great.
Was Maud is just, did we want to set you up for failure? I believe that's the origin of Maud. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Hector is Greek. It means the protector, which is why the dog from the Sylvester and Tweety mysteries was named Hector. Because he
Oh.
protects Tweety from Sylvester.
Rachel
I-
means baby lamb.
Oh, really?
That's appropriate.
A U. E-W-E.
You.
Yeah.
No, you. Maud means battle maiden. Yeah.
That's so dope.
That's super appropriate.
Okay, tell us
Man,
about your
those names
favorite
really
section.
shaped our personalities, you guys.
Protector.
Yeah.
The dog protector.
The dog protector?
Don't eat me.
Out of the way, you. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made enough gazpacho for everyone.
The story I liked the most was about Tomas, who's just going about his business and he's driving in the car and he kind of sees a glimpse of a shape, so he goes to check it out and ends up befriending the Martian, a Martian who lived around 40 centuries ago.
Or in the future. We don't
I
know.
love. I know. I
don't
really
know.
like that. Where he's like, those
ruins could be-
could have been yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Or we-
became
or
the.
the s- or the
Did we
city-
become the Martian?
I
Yeah, the
love
city
that.
could build on that.
We could have evolved into them. You don't know.
But I thought what was really cool, like these two beings are clearly in different times
Yeah.
on the same universe, and they can't physically connect, but they can. What would you call
They're like the
that?
ghosts to each other.
Exactly.
They can talk, they can speak, they can communicate telepathically.
But
So
they're describing the lands, and I love
Yeah.
this. It's like, oh, those broken pillars there. It's like, what are you seeing? Like, they are absolutely full. Can you not see the festival lights? Can you not see these gorgeous women?
no,
You know,
the
this is a
party's over
festival.
here. What are you talking about? That's an ocean.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
yeah.
Those
No, it's
oceans
down
have
the-
been burned up for years. Yeah.
At
Maybe
one
they'll be
particular-
filming. No, they won't. He's in the past.
In one particular, because of sci-fi mind, in any time with time travel, I was like, oh, this Tomas is giving up way too much information that this Martian is going to maybe collect and be like, ooh,
and change the future.
yeah,
Oh, I
shit's
hope so.
going down.
I
We are
hope
actually
so.
going to get eliminated. This guy told me
That'd be
basically
great.
and predicted things, but that didn't happen because it's a short story.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's where my sci-fi mind
Yeah.
goes. I'm like,
That reminds
"Woo."
me of a sci-fi story that I read, a book that I actually read on my own before I started the show, which is called The Transl Saga, written by Gary Paulson, who wrote The Hatchet and Brian
Oh
Song.
my
Sure,
gosh,
I remember
Hatchet
the
was
Hatchet.
mandatory.
A
in
little-
high
Me
school.
too.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
mandatory. He wrote a little survival story with another teen, but it was sci-fi, where this kid's camping in the desert, Krause, and he's probably in his teens. A magical blue light shows up. He accidentally knocks his Pepsi can in there, and then he falls in, and he gets transported to a world that has red skies, red grass, crazy trees, these incredible beasts that come up, and he starts like hunting, and it's a survival book for like half of it, where he's just like in this crazy foreign jungle. He befriends this little monkey creature, and then he meets these people, and then he discovers this is the future of Earth, thousands of years from now.
Cool.
And these people are the remnants of evolving from like nuclear war, famine, what like diseases, whatever, infects the earth. And at the end of the story, I'll just give you the whole thing. It's a great book.
Sure.
He somehow magically finds it. He's there for like 30 years. Falls in love, and then magically the blue light shows up again and he gets transported back to his time. And now at the end of the book, it sort of leaves it up to, okay, he's going to go find his parents and be like, hey, I'm an adult now. Like, this is crazy. But at the end of the book, he becomes a doctor to try and prevent what happens to the world, to try to save that woman he loved from
whatever the disease.
So he's trying to save humanity, and because of that future knowledge that he gets.
Yeah.
He tried.
That's what I was thinking
It's
of.
cool.
There you go.
It blew my mind when I was 13.
I love when time travel is done well.
Yeah.
When it has those rules. 12 Monkeys, the show.
I think we've spoken about this a
Even
lot.
when it's
Yeah,
not
usually
done
don't.
well, but it's good, like Back to the Future. I love it. The time travel rules are stupid, but they don't make any sense.
I
but
know
love
it's
it.
fiction, but sci-fi
that
needs
you?
to make sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest problem with Men in Black 3, that time travel doesn't make any sense.
There's a Men in Black 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, good
Who's in
burn.
it?
Good burn, Mud. Josh Brolin plays a young Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, I knew that. I did
Very
know
well
that.
cast.
Yeah, but the one's the best.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know that song? I'll sing the whole thing.
Oh my god, I did a dance to that in school.
Let me see you just bounce with me, just bounce with me.
We're gonna get charged so much for this episode. It's gonna be a 12-minute episode. What are we reading next, Hector?
Oh, I'll tell you guys.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you guys for reading part 2 of the Martian Chronicles. Hopefully we'll be doing that again some
it's
point
a
in the
lot of
future.
fun.
But next week we're going to be doing another one-off, some winter whimsy and melancholy for you. Your homework is to read the entire first book in a series of unfortunate events. Book 1, The Bad
Such a good
Beginning.
catch.
The Bad Beginning,
there you
guys.
go.
It is down here
It wasn't
somewhere.
even on you. They missed that.
It's over here.
You missed this one.
Here we go. I didn't break eye contact with the teleprompter or the camera. I tried. That's okay. Right
I've
here we
never
go.
read this. Everyone
Neither
else in my
have
life
I.
has, though.
I've only seen the Jim Carrey movie. Did not see the Netflix series yet. I'm excited.
I read
Lemony
them.
Snicket, series of unfortunate events, book
They're
1,
good. They're
The
real
Bad
fun.
Beginnings, or Orphans with an exclamation point. So that's your homework. That's your one-off, guys. Don't forget, we are also on Goodreads. Search Alpha Book Club and come discuss with us. If you're interested in
That needs
joining
to be
us
on
via
a
Skype,
shirt.
huh?
That needs to be on a shirt.
What?
Come discuss with us.
Why'd
I
say
like
that?
rhymes.
You like
Get your
rhymes?
wrinkle on.
Okay, that's cool. Get your wrinkle on.
Girl. What if we
You
put them
gone.
all on a
No,
shirt?
girl.
That'd be great.
She gone.
Girl, she gone.
She
Girl.
gone. Girl.
She gone.
She gone.
That'd be great. We need to start collecting our catchphrases and putting them on a shirt because I really like that. If you're interested in joining us via Skype on the show, please let us know on Twitter at Join Team Alpha with a hashtag Alpha Book Club. And Courtney's going to get you all set up. Nice snort, Rachel. That's really great. Make sure that you guys send your book recommendations to us at Nerdist, at Geek and Sundry, or at Join Team Alpha with the hashtag Alpha Book Club. And then we'll see you guys next time.
There's a little bit of Peter Falk in there.
I was trying to do the Martin
All
Short
of them,
character. What was
yeah.
it? The Jiminy
Glick.
Glick. A little bit of Jiminy Glick. And then he comes down here.
Do you know the female version of that?
It's great.
Shakira.
That's pretty good. And what's that sound like?
So she'll sing up here on the world. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. That
Her
was
hips
a really
do not
bad
lie.
example of it. Though.
Her hips don't lie.
Right,
We'll
that's
see you
how
next
we're
week.
ending this
Bye.
episode. Hell yeah. Bye.